Good afternoon, Durham. Welcome to another episode of Durham Unplugged, a chance to meet your local leaders in a less formal setting. I'm your host, Sterling Lee, and today we got him, folks. We got him. I have with me a Member of Parliament, Chief Government Whip, and all-round good guy, Mark Holland. Marcus, how you doing?
Good, buddy. How you doing? Nice to see your face.
It's nice to see yours.
I mean,
Now,
virtually. It'd be better to see it in person, but that's
no, totally. I'm checking my notes here, and it says we are best friends. That's what my
oh
notes.
yeah, that's right. We have to be reminded of that.
Well,
That's part of the problem.
I do
But
because I feel it took you way too long to free up time to show up on this show.
well, I mean, for the record, you didn't invite me, so
That's not untrue.
it's kind of on you a little bit.
That's not
You
untrue.
I said, "Oh, you seem to have a podcast," and I'm not being included.
Other
And you're
people
like, "Okay,
reached
well, maybe
out.
I'll have you on." So I don't
Other
know.
people,
So there's
they
an
didn't.
asterisk beside the best friend. I think
There is.
that we got to take a look at why, I'm so late to this particular party.
Listen, I wanted you specifically on episode 14. I was like, you know what? 14 episodes. We need something special.
Lucky 14. Everybody
Lucky
knows
14.
14 is
Yeah,
that's the number. That's
We-
the number everybody wants.
we got
It's
it.
that's right. When you're on episode 14, that's when you know you've made it.
It's the
Right?
unforgettable number. It's 2 sevens, Mark.
That's right. That's right. Well, and I maybe you just didn't want me around at the beginning because you didn't know if it would work out.
I don't know if I can talk to
Or
you. quite
maybe, or
honestly.
maybe you knew that this might just blow up and be terrible and end your entire podcast. So you wanted to make sure you had some under your belt before you invited me.
Not just my podcast, my career. I mean, this
Your
could be a
career.
career
Yeah,
ending
this could be the
podcast.
end of this could be the end of. I hope you enjoyed your first and only term. Yes, this is
If
this is
there's
where
one
it
thing we
ends.
know about Mark, he's just very controversial. Just every decision's controversial.
That's right. That's I try to make sure of that.
So, Marcus, how are you doing amidst COVID-19? It's what I lead off with everybody. I'm just dying to know, like, you seem pretty busy. I mean, that's why it's been so hard to get you online. What have you been up to?
Well, first of all, what a crazy time. Very surreal. I mean, if you had at the end of the year said that, we would all be in our homes and be dealing with this circumstance, you would have thought you were totally crazy. It's
Right.
like we're in a dystopian movie. You walk into a grocery store and it just looks surreal. So I think, like everybody, I mean, it's very jarring, and it's very sad. I think we in every family. I think just about everybody at this point has in some way been touched by COVID, lost family members, and knows friends who are on the front lines, or people who are putting their life at risk every day. And so, we're of course enormously grateful for people who are doing that and are on the front lines, and we're scared for people that we love. So it's a really trying time, but I think it's important at any time in life to take a look at the positives. For me, two of my kids are here, which is really nice, with me. My daughter, who's 21, my son, who's 19. Normally they're off and about and doing all kinds of things, so I get to hang out with them. That's really cool. Seeing Stephanie a lot more, which is really nice. Steph's daughter Allie, who's really incredible. I wouldn't have had time like that,
Right.
to spend with them, and so I've really enjoyed that. And yeah, I mean, it's been really busy. I one of my roles is to try to, sort of be coach and help other members across the country, and the volumes have been really crazy. There's a lot of people who need help. There's a lot of people hurting. Both from the emotional impact of how this thing is affecting families, and the economic impact of it. But members of parliament, I have to say, on both sides of the aisle, I've been working with the Conservatives and Democrats, the Bloc, as we try to negotiate, working together. We've been able to really get to unanimity on just about everything.
Great.
And and everybody's putting the country and people first. I think it's really wonderful to see. It's locally. I've got to really give huge props to Rod Phillips, who's been wonderful to work with. We did a town hall together. His staff have been really great to work with. So it's hard, right? But I mean, underlying that is some really positive things. And I hope that, look, there's opposition and there's the thrust and parry of politics, but the humanity that is kind of felt, the connection to one another, I think is really meaningful. And I hope that it's something that we can take out of this, that we should trust each other a little more. I'm going on here because I know you want to move on to other topics, but I think that one of the good things about this is we're all going through it.
Right.
Yes, there's different severity, and I don't mean to diminish. Some people are being hit way harder by this, but it doesn't matter who you are. This thing has completely upended your life. And I just find, I hope others are finding this, that people are more kind, more generous, more forgiving, because we kind of know what we're all going through. And normally, day to day, when you bump into somebody, you don't know what's happening in their day. You don't know how hard their day has been or what's been going on in their life. You see that mask that we put on to go out in the world, but you really don't know what's going on behind and what people are dealing with. Right now, we all have a sense of that this is something that's really hard for all of us. And I think that um, it's really engendering a sense of compassion, and people have really no tolerance for things like partisanship. And so hopefully we take some of that out of this. And it's like everything in life, you try to find the silver lining and try to understand what's the meaning of the moment you're in.
Well, Mark, in the spirit of forgiveness, I forgive you for taking
Well,
this long to get on
I
my
don't forgive you.
podcast.
I don't forgive you, for
How
the
dare
record.
you? After everything you just said, you can't forgive me, huh?
No, I can't ever forgive you. I think it was, with you, it's almost like original sin. From the moment I met you in
It's
improv.
Pandora's box. It's
Yeah, this is a guy I can never forgive. I just can't get behind. Everybody else, yes.
You have it in
I
your
just,
heart to give them a second chance, a third chance, but
not you,
I've
not
used
you.
up all my chances, which is probably
You've
not
used them up.
true in the history of our friendship. So you have two, I guess, adult children, or three. You have three, but two are with you now. What do you find yourselves doing at home? You guys playing Scrabble, Parcheesi?
They're different. Like, my son doesn't necessarily always want to do the same things my daughter does. My youngest guy, we have a video game we used to play called Castle Crashers. It's just like a
Yeah,
2D
it's so
scrolling
good.
game. That's a great game, and you can play with a bunch of people at the same time. We've been
Yeah,
trying to cajole Maya into doing it, her Steph. No chance. So we play that sometimes too late at night. And then we've also been playing some of these Jack in the Box games,
I
like
think it's just called
Fibbage.
Jackbox, but
Yeah, that's helpful, because I think people didn't know what I was talking about. So I think that
Jack in the Box
clarification.
is that old school thing.
No,
You
it's
turn those crank and
that's
then
what
the
we were
clown
playing.
pops out.
That's what we were playing.
Oh, just
Actually,
the two of you, right?
we're building. Yeah, we're building Jack in the Boxes, and then we
Good for
crank them,
you.
and we're very surprised every time, because we set it so that the crank explodes, but
It's
not at the
random.
time you're expecting. It's
Right,
very
it's
random.
yeah, it's good.
Sometimes it's 2 cranks, sometimes it's 10. So we play a lot of that, which is nice.
What was the joy in those things? Like I still don't get. I don't think I ever had a Jack in the Box, and I just don't like it. Always pops up
I have
like
a
pop
theory.
for Pop Goes the Weasel.
I have a theory that nobody ever had a Jack in the Box. I feel
Yeah,
like
it's
it
just one of those
was
things you saw on TV or like
it's
on
just a
comic.
thing you saw on TV. It never really existed. Nobody
Right.
actually went out and purchased a Jack in the Box, because I don't feel it serves any purpose. I mean,
It's fun 3 times.
is it?
Yeah. Like, oh,
Like,
I'm surprised.
I'd be worried about you. I mean, if you after the first time you enjoyed it and you had a good time with it, I would say, okay, that makes sense. There's a novelty to it. The second time, I would think it was wearing a little thin. If you were still enjoying it the third time, there'd be some concern. I would be, I would be a little bit concerned for you.
Well, I'm not
But
saying me, the
we don't even
adult.
enjoy we don't even enjoy it. We just do Jack in the Box.
Just making
Um,
them.
it's the art. It's really
It's the
the art.
journey, not the
It's the
destination.
painting. The painting of the clowns.
Yeah,
When the sort of the ruffles that are underneath the
of course.
clown.
Do you use
It's the
Chantilly
detail
lace?
and the
Do you use silk? I
yeah,
mean, what do you
absolutely.
use?
Well, we use. I mean, that's part of the beauty. You can. It's there's it really, the world's your oyster. You can have anything under there.
Well,
Um,
we look forward to you showing us a few of those, your finished products, if you will, of your few Jack in the Boxes, because we'd love to see them.
Absolutely. We can have a whole series where we.
In fact, episode 15 will just be an hour of Mark showing different Jack in the
I think
Boxes.
there's a thing where you open up. When you open up, there's like a YouTube channels of people like
The
opening up
unboxings. Yeah.
the unboxing. So that's what it will be. The unboxing of the Jack in the Box. No. We play Fibbage,
Yes.
and we've played. I think it's hilarious. It's like a thing where you're given a problem, like you have to write out what the problem is, and then you have to come up with an invention that fixes it.
Yeah.
And my daughter Maya, so she would always just draw the problem and forget to like create an invention that solves. Anyway, it's fun. It's just silly things like that. Card games, going for a lot of runs. So I try to get a run in every day. I mean, it's been cold. This
Yeah.
polar vortex thing is I don't get 2020 is just the worst. I mean, you have obviously this terrible, awful COVID. Then you have
Killer bees.
like killer, well, yeah, the killer,
Wasps,
they're hornets, they're wasps,
hornets.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if they were bees, at least they'd make honey. Like, at least there'd be something. But these things are just, they kill bees, which is even worse. And then you have like just a terrible. I mean, there was a couple of great days, and then it kind of teases you, and then
Oh,
it's
it's the
the
tease. It's
coldest
the worst
days
thing.
on record. It is. It's the worst because you're starting to say, okay, COVID is brutal, but at least when you go running
I can
outside,
go enjoy the weather.
there's
Yeah.
not a snowstorm. But then there's like snow in May. Like it's just bananas. It's the coldest days in May ever. So 2020. Thanks for that. But
This is supposed to be an uplifting podcast, just for the record. You know.
yeah, is everybody feeling good? Yeah, we
Yeah.
we can list all the other things that are going on.
Woo!
I
Yeah.
mean, the year started. It was a tough year. I mean, this year started with the wildfires in Australia and those, and how terrible they
Those
were, and
seem like a lifetime ago.
they seem like
I
a million
I hadn't even
years
thought
ago.
about them in such a. You're right. Like Australia was literally on fire, and I don't think I've thought about that. And that was what, 3 months ago.
That was 3 months ago, and I mean, I think when that happened, I thought that would be the defining moment of 2020. I think
Right.
when we were doing the year-end summary, we'd be talking about how terrible those wildfires were, the devastation of them, and now they seem like a million years ago, and certainly, and they're going to make the highlight reel. But I mean, it's so sad. I mean, there's a lot of stuff for folks to deal with. It's a hard beginning, and obviously I think that the weirdest thing is, I don't know about you, but normally my life is super planned out, right? Like I know exactly what I'm doing every day, where I'm going to be. I'm constantly on the move, and I'm planning months and months in advance. And it's really weird to look at my calendar. We were supposed to do this live theater thing.
Yeah.
You, I, and a couple other folks. Looks super cool. I was really looking forward to it, and that's tonight, right? And it's just every day there's this other life, this shadow life that you were
Yeah.
supposed to be living, and you look at your calendar and it's just like, and then you have no idea where it's going. Like, you can't make plans. Like, you
Nope.
can't say, okay, well, in September I'm going to be doing this, or at least in I can go do this Thanksgiving with a family or something. I mean, it's really tough. And I think it really brought home for me talking to people. Ramadan's happening right now.
Yeah.
People are fasting. Normally iftar is such a time of celebration. You get together at the end of fasting, and the whole community's together. I mean, it's a really special time and a really wonderful time in Ajax. And doing iftars by Skype, I mean, it's just not the same thing, right?
Oh, definitely
Doing
not.
that by Zoom, and so you miss people. Not you, but I mean, I miss a lot
No,
of people.
of course not. I had to pull your teeth. I had to.
Yeah,
I
I
had to
mean, this
threaten
is
you.
episode 14. I think it says a lot. But
Yeah. I mean, like I said, double sevens. Now you are fasting for Ramadan, as you have been for, I think, for the past 5, 6 years.
so this is the 6th year. Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I know people talk about this with you a lot, so I don't want to kind of go over that over and over, but just like explain just why are you fasting?
Sure. So there's a fellow named Ziad Mia who started this charity. I think it's a wonderful idea that you take the money that you save from fasting and you donate it to local food charities. Ramadan is all about connecting to the suffering of others, understanding how lucky you are, and really reflecting upon the blessings that you have in your life. And so he thought this was a great extension to take the money that you would save from not eating meals and donating that to local food banks, because there's such a need. I mean,
Especially now.
sadly, yeah,
Yeah.
there are a lot of folks who are really struggling, and who need help. And so giving to local food banks is a great cause. So he came to me. It was I guess it was 6 years ago, and was talking about it. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And I think I just had no idea. You hear about people fasting for a month, and I have a really good friend who's an MP, Omar Al Gabra, and he would do it every year. And so I can do this. It's no big deal. And then you do it. And you're like, oh yeah, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
I find that it's about halfway through, because we're about smack dab in the middle right now, halfway through, and it's challenging. I'm particularly in a quarantine.
Especially in isolation. I was going to say, especially in isolation, because
Yeah, in
what I
isolation. I got to use
do,
the right term.
what I do
So
when I'm bored is I eat. Right?
yeah, I mean,
I
I
eat a
want
lot.
to. I want to eat, and I want to eat a lot, and I do once the sun sets. I hit it ravenously.
Right.
But but I mean, the nice thing. I mean, first of all, I do find it. Um, because you get uncomfortable, you're kind of like, I want to eat, you maybe get a little grumpy, and then I think that's what connects you to what the whole power of fasting and Ramadan is you kind of go, I'm really lucky, and I mean, there's many moments during this where I go, I'm unbelievably lucky, most of the people in my life are healthy. My kids are doing super well. I'm in a wonderful relationship. I've got a job that I really love, working with people that I really love on for causes that I
Good
really
best friend.
love. Yeah,
Great.
so yeah, I mean, there's other things. There's other things that are there
Etc. Etc.
that are
Etc.
etc.
Moving on.
There's a long list. So it's no great friends, and I mean, friends. It's a frustrating one to think about friends. I mean, just being serious for a second, because the reality is, friends. I mean, as you know, they're a massive part of my life. I'm a super social person,
Right.
and being separated from people that you really love, your friends, is super hard. And I think family as well. Like I obviously you can't see your folks, you can't see your extended family. So I miss my cousins, I miss my niece, I miss my sister, I miss my mom, I miss seeing all of my family, and that's what everybody's going through. And I think it's I think, to put it in terms that folks who are not Muslim would think about right now, is imagine this is happening at Christmas. Imagine this is happening, when everybody is getting together at the most important time of the year to be with family, and you can't be with your extended family, you can't be with your friends, and
Right.
that is, you know, I really hope, God willing, that by Christmas that we're in a different world. But this is really hard for folks, and so you can joke about the fact that there's Steph brings something home and it looks delicious and I want to eat it, and I can't, and that's hard. But I mean, I think that for our neighbors in the Muslim community, it's a really challenging time to be at such an important time of the year, separated from people that you love. And so, um, I have a lot of thoughts and feelings for those folks.
Yeah. Well, you brought up our friends, and we are doing something uh, weekly, which I think is a really good way to connect. We see a bad movie with about 5 or 6 of our friends once a week, every week. And it's been going on, I think it's like 5 weeks we've been doing this. And it's been a godsend. It's been fantastic to just kind of connect with people. And I think the movies we've seen so far are Cliffhanger. Um,
That was a good one. I wouldn't even put that one in.
no, that's not even a
I mean,
bad movie.
I mean, it's bad, but it's really good. You can
Yes.
watch it. It's super entertaining. I think you don't need that one to be bad to watch that one.
We saw
We're
that
suddenly
Bruce.
turning into movie reviews. We'll get
Hey,
really
that's
deep on
that's what
these.
this is. That's
I
that's
know
what this show
this
is.
is just the chance for
Just
Sterling to talk about movies.
yes, minutia.
Right.
But then we saw that Bruce Willis one, where this autistic kid broke some NSA code, and then the government's trying to kill
Oh,
this kid.
that was a terrible. That was not. I don't even watch that as a bad movie. That
No,
was.
and I even forgot the name of
I
it,
mean,
but it was
such
just so
just a terrible depiction of
of
autism.
autism. I
I
think
was
it was very
I mean,
dated.
you could only do it was in the 90s, right? So I mean, I think you could get away. You couldn't put a movie like that out today. I mean, it was
No.
just it was objectively dumb, terrible, off
Well, I think at
base.
one point the doctor like sedates the child, and Bruce Willis is like saying, "What are you doing?" And then the doctor's like, "Well, he has autism. What else can I do?" And you're just like,
Right.
"Well, that's a really sad depiction of and
Yeah.
unrealistic of modern autism." So,
I mean, it's funny because so we watch with Allie, who's Steph's daughter. We watch Survivor, which I used to do with my kids when they were young, and I love it. And so we watched season 39, and it was amazing. And then we said, okay, we got to go back. We're going to go, who knows how long this thing is going to go on for. So we'll go back. And I think we went back to like season 5 because Allie really likes the Amazon. So we're like, okay, that's a season about the Amazon. Maybe it was season 6, somewhere in there. It was so inappropriate.
yeah,
Like it was the way that, men were talking about women, the way the show was allowing harassment to go on and joking about harassment. I mean, it's incredible how much has changed. I think you can go back. I watched, I was in a hotel room. I was watching, 48 Hours. I think that the Eddie
Eddie
Murphy
Murphy
movie.
and Nick Nolte.
Holy cow! Like you couldn't get away. Like it's gobsmacking, right? Like
Yeah.
you couldn't put that movie out today. You know, um, I don't know. That's a tangent. But anyway, yeah, we watched. We're still on the first movie we watched. No, second movie,
Second, no,
which Mercury Rising, which
thank you. That was nice. Thank you.
with the only thing you should hope for with Mercury Rising is
Is
the
to never
temperature
watch it.
outside, and never watch that
Oh,
movie.
look at you! Look at you!
See, there you go.
Weather
Because we're in the
joke there,
middle of a polar vortex. I'm sure this is going to be, a valuable video for decades to come. So for people who are just tuning in months from now, yeah,
it's our time capsule.
It's our time capsule. We're in a polar vortex, which is
Yeah.
this is a good activity in a polar vortex to
Hey,
to
like I
talk,
said, I
with
keep
somebody
saying
that you know.
this is what I do to make sure I don't go crazy in front of my wife and child, a la The Shining, because I feel like, yeah, it's like all work and no plays. So yes, and then we saw Dirty Dancing, which I would also consider a good bad movie.
Yeah, that's Steph's favorite movie. Steph. I mean,
Which is questionable.
She was young when she
No,
was.
I meant
she was
a
like
lot to her.
really, really young, and she, I mean, it's
Not without faults.
it has a lot of faults.
Yes,
Yeah,
so many.
it has a lot of faults. Patrick Swayze, I forgot he was such a bro in that movie. He was,
Well, he's a meathead, and he's just
yeah,
like, yeah, like I don't. I remember he was a good dancer.
he was a very two-dimensional character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
and what I want to know about Dirty Dancing is why, they have this place where Dirty Dancing is happening
in the
like
Catskills.
but like 7 nights a week, right? Like it's just, and then supposedly it's a hidden secret. Like how do you pull that off? Like they've got like 100 people dirty dancing every night, but somehow this is a secret. Like it is a very tiny resort.
Though, I heard. So I had been on cruises, like 1 or 2 cruises in my lifetime back when I was at.
I don't think you have any planned in the future, but yeah.
No, they're really good deals now. Now's the time.
Yeah.
But you would talk to the staff, and apparently underneath the ship, like the staff members are having just like a crazy party every night. So I think there is.
Yeah, but that's probably sealed. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's no noise attenuation around it, and they're down in like it's a giant ship. I mean, that's like a floating city.
Right.
I mean, this is a little tiny country resort.
That's
like
true.
I mean, 10 kilometers away, you'd know if there's a party going on, right? And this is happening 7 days a week, and it's a shock to people. There's dirty dancing.
Well, you watch Baby cross a bridge to get to the staff quarters, so I feel like it was far enough that people.
But Baby's an object. Why is she named Baby? That's just a creepy name. I don't.
I think they explained it, but again, I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was a pretty incredible movie.
That was that. That one you can take or leave. And then we watched Tremors.
Tremors is also a good bad movie.
That's a good bad movie. That's one. And then they turned it into like Tremors 1 through 18, and again, television Tremors, and part of the kid from Tremors actually made a career from Tremors shows, and which is pretty remarkable, really.
So for those of you watching at home, what we do ultimately is we zoom in. So there's like 5, 6 of us, and then we pick the movie, and then literally like we'll count down. Everyone press play in 3, 2, 1, and then you just gotta hope to God everything kind of lines up. And I don't think it ever does truly.
No,
I think there is like
there's always
like 2 or 3 seconds off.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying actually. But that part of it. Then you talk all through the movie. Yeah, you give commentary all through.
We looked up one of the kids from Tremors, and we're just like, what has this kid been in? And he was in Tremors 2, Tremors 3. I think he skipped 4 and 5 because who knows why. But then he was in the Tremors TV show. Which also,
well, I'm sure Tremors 4 and 5 jumped the shark a bit. Like I'm sure that
I think they jumped into Tremors 1 more.
No, but Tremors 1 was it was tongue in cheek, right? It was never meant to be like a super serious movie. It was just kind of tongue in cheek. And
I think it was robbed of the Oscar that year. There, that's my hot take.
You thought it was what? Sorry,
I think it was robbed of the Oscar for Best Picture that year.
Didn't it win? I thought it won that year.
See, you didn't know, yeah.
I thought
robbed.
it did.
Yeah, didn't even get nominated.
Well, it did in my heart. So that's what counts. So how about you, Sterling? Are you doing anything interesting? You've got Finn. I'm sure. Do you talk about this every? Do you talk about yourself every podcast? Yes, you do. I know you. You're gonna give us a little.
Some
detail.
guests ask me. Other guests, they just kind of just. Not every guest asks, which is fine. I mean, this is. Is
it fine? Is it okay? I think
it hurts
like
a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does look like you're
20% hurts. Okay, 20. I can't hide the eyes. But no, unfortunately, like my life, very much like other people, is just very repetitive. I can't even speak English. I was
repetitive. Is that a type of reptile?
Yeah, it's
a deadly reptile.
Cold-blooded, and I want to kill my family and eat them. No, repetitious. Yes. Oh my god.
Repetitive.
Yeah, repetitive.
Your life is really repetitive right now.
Yes, or each
you
day
like you're living Groundhog. Yeah,
Yes.
every day is
Oh,
repetitious. Yeah.
Mark, I was an English major. I
This
swear
is
to
this
God.
is yeah yeah. Well, this is what you
I
tell people, but
graduated.
it's no. This is not just a podcast. It's also a chance to learn. So that's good.
I
Um,
mean, I'll put in the notes the definition of repetitive, and I
re-
had to think twice before I said it again.
repetitive versus what was the
Rep-
lizard?
repetitive? I can't even say it.
Repetitive. That sounds like a really dangerous lizard. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is, and that's what I was
Yeah,
doing.
it is. It's Groundhog Day. I mean, it's the weekend is different. I mean, I don't know if you find that. Like, I definitely find that the volume falls off on the weekend. We're doing these virtual sittings. We have all the discussions with the other parties. I'm talking to all of my other colleagues. We're trying to get people home. We're trying to connect people to benefits, but everybody kind of goes into a different gear on the weekend. So it does feel to me a little different on the weekend. But otherwise,
Well,
you're
I'm
waking
glad.
up to the
I'm
identical
glad
day. And
we.
I'm somebody who doesn't like a pattern. Like, I do not like knowing what every day is going to be, and it's this stretch out into infinity of the same day. I mean, and I'm not complaining. Obviously, there's a lot of people who are really suffering right now, but it's but yeah, like, for somebody who likes to mix it up and likes to be challenged and likes to have different things to look forward to, I think a lot of us, it's tough. And you're like me, you get your energy from being social. I actually don't like, you know, not being out. I like being out. I
Right.
like being social. I get energy from it. I'm like the ultimate extrovert, and so being in all the time, I find my energy is a little bit weird. But I mean, I'm sure it's good for me. Some kind of to learn to be a little bit more zen
Well,
is good. And it's on the weekends where I find that. During the week, it just blows by. There's so much to do.
thank you
Um,
for answering your question to me. By the way,
that's what
made it
I'm
right
here
back
for.
to you.
That's what I'm here for. I asked you, but really,
This is
I wanted
why.
to know.
Yeah,
I asked you, but I wanted to know about me. I
this,
mean, really, it's
you're
episode
one of those
14.
guests, I guess. You're gonna be one of those guests, and that's
Yeah, well,
fine.
it's an
This is
episode 14 show, right?
yeah. I
So
mean, this
it's
is double seven.
this
The
is
yeah,
this is the really important episode. So I'm sure
we
you've
got
got
him. Like I
lots of
said, folks,
chances.
we got him.
I just wanted to demonstrate that I understood the idea that I should ask you a
Right,
question.
but then you will then
But then
answer
I will
because
go to my
it's
side
way
and I
more
will talk
interesting. To be
about.
honest, it
It
is far
is. I
more
mean,
interesting.
particularly for me, it's a lot, particularly for me. I don't know about people who are watching, but it's really exciting for me. So
No,
no,
no, but
Sterling. But I mean, you did say that it was
repetitiousness.
repetitiveness, and that really there was nothing to add, but other than that you're a lizard man.
Lizard comma man, but no, we it's very much the same day. So Amanda is thankfully still employed from her work. Shout out to Fuse Reps. So she's in the office from 9 to 5. My job allows me to kind of work off my phone, so if I get an email I can respond right away. So Finn and I just try to do different things, and thankfully when you're 2.5, it's simple. Like, he just likes playing on his parents' bed, and I remember like doing that as a kid as well. Like, it's just something about a bigger bed is just very magical.
That sounds very repetitious.
I can't tell if that's the way to pronounce the word or not,
I
but
know I know I'm gonna say it almost like it's correct, and then
yeah, every time
just
it
to
just
really
throw me
just
off.
to make sure you can never say that word. That's my objective at the end of this podcast, for you to be ever
Well, I'm going to
confused
start second guessing every word I say now. But we're good. I mean, we bought him a nice sandbox before this thing broke, which is nice. We bought him a nice little water table, so in the backyard, we're just hoping the weather warms up and he's able
I
to do
remember
that.
those things. You're a brave man. I mean, I bought something like that for my kids, and it was, the house became a trash can, right? I mean, because that dirt gets absolutely everywhere. Kids have the ability when they play in sand for it to get into everything, and
Well, I'm
and
also an Asian
we
dad,
absolutely.
so I will pick up each grain of sand myself and put it back into the sandbox if necessary.
That's good. Well, and that's a good way to break up the monotony. I feel is
Yeah,
just
and I
just to
count them
pick
as
up
well.
grains of sand.
40,006, 40,006. Whew. Yeah, I really like to mix it up and just really challenge myself and see how many I can pick up the next day. If it's more or less, that's how I challenge myself.
Okay, so your media consumption. Should we talk a little bit about? I mean, maybe you've already gone into this. I don't know. I don't know how polite your other guests are in front of
Not
the
really
tables.
not.
No, they got to do better. You need to have your mistake is that you don't talk to people before it begins to
Right.
sort of lay out the expectations. So,
Yeah,
or
guys,
maybe
this show
I'm
is really
breaking the
about me.
model.
No, and I'm glad. I hope people watch this. Be like, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it. No,
Right.
obviously, Every guest has been great, and I don't want to seem like I'm trashing my guests because they'll never come back.
It does. It felt a little bit like you were
Yeah, like
trashing.
I'm kind of talking, and I'm
Maybe
talking to the
that's why
camera.
you did. Maybe why you did 14 episodes, just so you could trash your previous guests.
Oh, totally, totally. And
Yeah.
then I'm gonna end on 15 saying I hate everybody, and then just
Yeah,
cancel
exactly.
the podcast.
Another. That's a great career move. I feel like as a
I like
politician.
to
Yeah.
burn bridges, I find.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I found out that Kevin Ash and I, so you had served with Kevin Ash on regional council.
I did. Yeah.
Him and I actually are TV soulmates. We like thoroughly love the same shows, like The Wire, Billions. I told him to watch Succession. He sent me a message just earlier today saying it's a great show. So him and I are TV soulmates. I figured out.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that I'm glad that we use this episode to talk about the previous episode of you and Kevin Ash.
I was just,
Anything else that you want to share about your relationship
now, Lisa
with Kevin
Bauer
Ash?
and I, we were also talking about in episode 1. This is a retrospective. We're gonna go back to the past.
Right.
11
We should.
episodes.
Well, this would be like use a Survivor reference. The old Survivors, after people were voted out, you'd have to go through this like montage for 20 minutes of like all the people that were voted out and the reel of like whatever happened. Somebody threw the rice into
now's the
the
best
porridge
time
or
because,
something.
quite frankly, you're not very interesting. So now's the best time.
Thanks. Yeah. So let's go. We just go. Give
Episode
your
1.
greatest hits. Greatest hits. So.
But I was actually Lisa and I are rewatching The West Wing, and I forgot.
That's a great show.
Great
that
that
is a
show
phenomenal
was.
And it's funny. I really resisted that show because you work in politics and you kind of like, I don't want to watch a show about the area that I work in. So,
Right.
But so I was kind of really stubborn. I tend to be be that way, as you know.
Yes.
And you're not that way. I find you're very open.
I'm very
you're
open.
Very, very open. No, you're not. I recommend things to you, and then you trash them, tell me how awful they are, and then I catch you having it as like the favorite thing in your life, like that the video game you play.
Okay, this podcast is over. First things first. Okay,
I
don't like you
Hearthstone,
me.
right?
Hearthstone, yes.
Hearthstone. So I played Hearthstone for maybe a couple of months, right? I really liked this game. You trashed me and talked about like how terrible it was, and you're how could you be such a loser to play this game, and how awful it is.
I don't think it was that harsh.
I feel you were. I mean, I still have the scars. I still have the scars. So I play this thing, and you just mercilessly chop me up for playing this game. And it's a game you play on your phone. Now, one day I catch you, playing this thing.
Yeah.
And now,
Now I've invested too much money into this game.
Yeah, I think, the game is only continuing because of your investment. Without you, they would have ended 5 years ago.
Like it would have been. I'm putting their entire families through, like every programmer, their families through college.
Absolutely. They're gonna when the coronavirus is over, there's gonna be a celebration in your honor in their production studios, just to thank you for the contributions you've made.
And it's the most frustrating thing is that I'm investing. You buy new decks as you're supposed to, and you craft them, and I go online, I'm like, oh, what's the best deck? I can only be described as an average player after all this time and money that I've spent on it. And I'm trying to question, why am I doing this? But quite honestly, I tell Amanda, because she's like, oh, why are you always playing this game? I find it very relaxing. Like it's just,
I get that. I was the one who introduced it to you. You don't need to convince me.
Who am I trying to convince?
This is either arguments I used to you as you trashed me. This is exactly what I said. Now my problem, because I loved it at first, my problem with it, because I think everybody wants to know our feelings on Hearthstone.
Yeah, so this is why they're tuning in for episode 14.
And you know what? You and I have really connected, and that's a rare thing, but you and I really connected once. And that was, we watched Twitch playing Hearthstone.
Yes.
Right? And we were both really into the strategy and how people played these cards. And so I really liked it for that. But what I don't like about it, if you can send, because when you talk to them at their celebration,
at the retreat, the annual retreat,
the annual retreat where all of the employees get together and you're the guest of honor. If you could let them know, my problem is when and I know why they do it, it's for the money, right? But when they change the decks all the time like that, then you have to relearn the strategy every time. And that's just too big a commitment. So what I think they should have is like a classic version. Maybe they even have this, and I don't know, but where it stays static and you can just play that one. And I would even pay a little bit of money. I know, and they should, because I like to come to it once in a while and play it a little bit. I don't want to have to relearn the strategy for that. It's like it's just too much darn work, and I get frustrated. And so anyway, that's my beef about Hearthstone.
But another example of you suggesting something that I poo-pooed very quickly without doing my research was the movie The Three Idiots.
Yes.
We would watch
Yeah.
this Bollywood film, The Three
And
Idiots.
that went on for a long time
Oh,
because
without a doubt. It wasn't until my
we
honeymoon.
even made a bet about it because I said you refused to watch it. You said it's terrible. It's not a good movie, and I bet you money that you would like. I said if you watch it and you genuinely and I trust your honor that you're going to be honest about it. If you don't like it,
Yeah.
then I'll give you I don't know whatever
I think it was like
$10 or
$10.
something. Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't big money. We do have a big bet that we should talk about.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yes,
Now,
but
of
let's
course.
just finish. Let's just finish this.
Oh,
So
just before you go on, if Revenue Canada is watching this, obviously this is play money we're talking about, not real money at all.
right, this is monopoly
Ridiculous,
money.
right? Monopoly
Absolutely,
money.
this is yeah. So anyway, you watched it, and what was your reaction to this movie, The Three Idiots?
So Mark had said, I mean, my objection to you is that, I mean, honestly,
My objection to you. Wow,
as a human being,
this is good. We're getting right to the core.
we're
Forget about the Three
airing
Idiots
every
right now. We're
grievance.
getting
This is, yeah. No, I mean,
I
like
feel
Mark
this is going to be catharsis. This is like therapy for you and I. We're going to get to the
isn't it
bottom of it. So
pronounced
what's your?
catharsis?
I mean, tomato. But anyway, let's continue.
Which is what I say, repetitious. Repetitiousness and repetitive,
Yeah.
same thing. Yes. So Mark and I get along. I'm going to go just one step back because we both have very strong feelings about everything. Like everything ultimately can become a debate with us, and that's why
Right.
we enjoy it. We enjoy just challenging each other. So
Mhm.
this movie he saw, and he made the claim this is like one of his top, I think, 10 movies of all time.
I would say
Maybe
so.
less.
I would put it up there. I like them an emotional, heartfelt movie. I do. I'm not ashamed.
So I of course, I didn't watch any Bollywood films except maybe Slumdog Millionaire. So I didn't really know anything about this movie. So I didn't see it. And then I was on my honeymoon with Amanda, and our flight, you have all sorts of movies now, and Three Idiots was there. And I was like, you know what? Now's the time. I'm going to just watch this movie, get it over and done with. And then Mark can't get on my back anymore. Amanda looks up, and there's like a single tear rolling down my cheek.
That's right. You can't watch that
She's
movie.
like, what are you
and not
doing?
cry.
I'm
You're
just
made
like,
of stone if you don't cry.
yeah, no, it was a very good movie. I wouldn't put it in my top 10, but it's
Yeah, but
it
you
was very
put
good.
Batman in your top 10. I mean,
Sir,
come on.
that Batman trilogy is
Batman. Come
phenomenal.
on. A
The Dark
superhero
Knight
movie in your
was
top
amazing.
10. We're talking about in the entire history of cinema.
I would
You're
put Dark Knight over
Batman.
Three Idiots.
Well, okay. So I mean, if I'm going, I don't care. I'm going to put Three Idiots there. I'm going to
You can do
stand
whatever you
by
want.
that.
It's a free world.
I
But you're just wrong.
I think it is a beautiful, beautiful film. So
It
I
was.
have some folks in my office who absolutely love Bollywood movies. Now, my only knock on Bollywood movies is their length, and
Very
it's a
lengthy.
funny. Well, and it's a funny knock because I can, if somebody tells me, oh, there's a new series out and there's 8 seasons, I'm like, oh, sure, I'm gonna, go check that
You're
out.
rewatching
We're watching.
Survivor of all things.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, that also is about. No, I'll own it. I love Survivor,
No,
but
no, no, of course.
it's.
I'm saying like 30.
I think there's a nostalgic element to me about like I used to watch it with the kids, and it's like this. I have to really, and CBS can make. They're not allowed to make contributions to my campaign, I guess. But I really love Survivor to watch with a family because it forces conversations about difficult issues. This most recent season 39 has a whole kind of Me Too element to it, and so Ali's 8, and so we had a really good conversation around those issues and around what she should, how. I mean, this stuff is uncomfortable to talk about, but we have to talk about it, right?
Sure.
About even when she's that young, about what is appropriate in terms of somebody interacting with you and what isn't, and so but it does it in a way that's really family friendly, and so you can be 8 and really enjoy it and kind of enjoy the characters and whatnot, and you can be older and really love it. I think Steph loves it even more than I do. So I don't know how I got so deep in Survivor. I just because I'm feeling defensive that I like Survivor. So yes, Survivor.
I wasn't even attacking this.
But okay, so I remember the point because I forgot the point. The point
there's like
was
7 of them. So one of these points
there's like I don't have a problem, like if somebody watching, so like Ray Donovan, right? Like so, or you suggested Billions. I'm really loving Billions, but it's a television watching. I'm all over the map. Television watching is very complicated right now, right? Because I'll watch a show with Steph, right? I'll watch a show with like one of my kids, and so I'll watch it individually with them when I'm with them, but right now we're kind of all together, so you kind of have to start new things. So it kind of puts so Steph and I were watching Billions. That kind of puts it on a shelf. I really like Billions, but with Riley we're watching Ray Donovan,
Okay,
and with Ali we're watching Survivor. What's that?
Ray Donovan.
Ray Donovan? Yeah, have you seen it?
No, I it's again on my list of 1,000 shows I want to start and consider.
I really like it. Yeah, I think it's really, really, really well done. I'm really enjoying it. a big exclamation mark at the end of that one. But anyway, my point is that I get these Bollywood movies that are recommended, and I'm like, oh, it's 3 hours. Like I don't. I guess it's the fact on a season, like you watch an hour, and then you can make a decision: do you want to watch another one, or do you want to step away? But this is the stuff people want to know, Sterling. This is what people are
This
looking
is
for.
it.
I feel like the people of
This
Ajax,
is the format, sir. The people wanted
yeah,
to know not just like, oh, the chief government whip or blah.
yeah.
That's everyone knows that. This is
Although I
exactly
don't think anybody knows what a chief government whip does. I mean, not that we're going to explain it now.
you literally whip people who get out of line. Is that not true?
You
Like you
you
have
you
a
have
physical whip, a cat of
we
nine
may have needed
tails.
to have a conversation about what the job is. I mean, you used to work with me, this is really confusing as to why you don't know what
I
this
didn't really
job
pay
is.
attention when I was there, to be honest. I was
Yeah,
there
we
just
noticed.
to.
We
I
noticed.
was the eye candy of
I
the
would.
office.
Thank goodness somebody elected you to something.
How
Yeah.
dare how dare you? Okay,
So what else you want? What do you? Okay, well, I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no,
You
no.
take it.
We have, yeah.
I'm turning into the host. So you
Which,
go
by the
ahead.
way,
Sorry,
okay.
sir.
So before Mark had started this, before we started, we were just chatting for a few minutes, and Mark was like, "Oh, and this ties in. Believe it or not, you were saying you want to consider starting a podcast called the
Called
10
10 Deep.
10D."
So where we debate, debate issue. Doesn't have to be one thing. It can be, favorite movies. It can be favorite seasons. It
Right.
can be any topic. And then the idea is that we debate which is number 1 through 10 and the order and why they are, and have an argument about, why October is the best month as opposed to, July, July would be the obvious choice. But I think October is
I don't think
actually
it's
the better.
obvious. I'm more
Yeah,
of a
but see,
fall
that's the
guy.
point. But see, that's what I'm saying. I think it's a very controversial topic that needs to be explored. So,
So
I thought,
it's just funny because we were talking about our 10 favorite movies. We were talking about the fact that you and I can argue about anything. So be on the lookout. This is a little teaser of you. If you somehow made it through the 30
yeah,
so
I
far
feel if you
and
are the one person who has
haven't
made it
wanted
to this point,
to just to throw your computer out the window, then be on the lookout. I'm down for this. We're going to start a podcast called the 10,
called 10 Deep.
and the
I
title will
mean, does it
be
need a the?
we'll play with the title
I
because
mean,
I
literally
don't love
was
that title.
it literally came to life 30 seconds before this podcast began.
It's a work in
But
progress.
see, you know what we can start it with? A debate around names. So what are the 10 best names and why?
And then so by the end of episode
But I
1,
think that one we won't
we
record. That
no no no
that will just be like a
sir.
test episode for you and I.
We record everything. Okay, there's no this
Yeah.
is not edited. The only time I edited once was Tito was on, and then he cut out for like 5 minutes. So in his
But
episode,
he got sick of you? Is it very good?
probably to be
Yeah.
honest.
He's like, oh, I'm having technical difficulties.
Now
Shh.
you had mentioned a bet, and I'm really glad you brought that up because Mark and I, an ongoing joke we have with each other is that we're never wrong. He's right.
Well,
And so,
this is I don't know. I mean, I feel like we both feel that the other one doesn't think that they're wrong. So
right.
it's not so much that we always think we're right.
But the other
It's that
person
you think, or
believes
I think that you always think you're right, and you think that I'm always right, and we
right.
end up debating these things. And
So
you like to bet. I don't like to bet. I
it's
don't.
true.
Just for the record,
I am a compulsive gambler. All Monopoly money, of course.
all
And so
Monopoly. Yeah.
we had a bet back in I think it was like 2013, which has since been amended to 2015, and it was a talk about autonomous cars and like you were excited about level 5 autonomy and whatnot of just completely autonomous cars because
I'm sick of
ultimately
driving back and forth to Ottawa.
right.
I mean, so I'm invested in this issue. I mean, the idea that, and the train is too long. It takes me like 5 hours door to door by train. So there's a particular reason why I'm so invested in autonomous cars.
No, and you're not wrong. And ultimately, there's
Thank you. End of episode, ladies and gentlemen.
wait,
I'm not wrong.
Keep it going.
Thank you very much for joining us today. And hopefully guest 15 is as entertaining.
No,
have a great day, Sterling.
Why take control, Sterling? Take control. So you were ultimately saying that, from a pollution standpoint, from an ownership standpoint, from a cost standpoint, there's nothing but positive things. And that's why everyone will kind of band together and really get autonomous cars within, I think it was 20 years, we had said by 2013. And then we kind
2030. I think it became 2030 somewhere along the way.
So then my logic at the time was, well, I mean, this is 7 years ago, so 2013. But even like I would use Google Maps, and they'd be like, "Oh, get off the highway, and then get back on the highway." And this is Google, and they've had plenty of like data to perfect their maps, but even their maps weren't perfected. And what are the phone? My phone. Sometimes my phone crashes from time to time.
Right,
and I
right.
just didn't think we'd ever get to a point where we would be fully comfortable with autonomous cars. So the bet was, So the bet as of 2015 was that in 15 years, 2030, 30% of the Canadian population would be in a level 5, which means like no hands, hands off wheel, autonomous vehicle. Mark believes it
Right.
would happen.
I do.
I said it would not. And we bet a ridiculous sum of money because it was so far out. I wanted to put
So
stakes on
here, because I feel like that's a sufficient introduction. So what I will say is that a very recent development, and you and I haven't been able to get a chance to talk about this. Volvo just announced that their first cars that will be able to completely have you hands-free, not paying attention, 2022. That most car companies, particularly unfortunately with this crisis, are moving off of developing their own technology for driving, and it's
and they're going
moving
to
to
license it.
and they're going to license it. And so there's a company that uses this technology that's incredibly advanced. Lithar or this is terrible. I should know the name of it, particularly given the stakes. And this technology is going to be deployed in sort of all vehicles, which I think, given the fact that there's a centralization of that technology, is going to accelerate it. And I look at it. I mean, I joke about it being for me, but I actually look at the number of people that, I used to be in heart and stroke, and so we talk about how many people would die of heart disease or stroke. Look at how many people die every year, as a result of car accidents.
True.
And you talk to firefighters in Ajax. One of the things is so traumatizing is that they see young families dying, and they see all these terrible tragedies playing out every single day.
Yeah.
The number of people that we lose in vehicular accidents is totally unacceptable. Secondly, from an environmental perspective, the way our current model of car ownership is just crazy. That we mostly have a single car parked in the driveway, just sitting there all the time, and then we go into obscene traffic where we're stuck there for an hour. If computers are driving, they've shown you can double the amount of traffic that we have in the GTA right now, and you'd have no traffic jams, and you'd vastly reduce the amount of congestion. And by the way, you and I, instead of well, not you, because you don't have to drive as much, but for me, having to drive all the time, like it's just and then your car is sitting there so much of the time not being used, it suddenly can be redeployed. So I don't need to even own a car. I just use a car when I need to to get a particular place. So it's just better all around. And so I
And I
mean,
don't
part of me
disagree
is
with that. But
yeah.
my argument ultimately is that human nature is human nature. And we're saying 30. So
That's
one
deep.
in
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming today. We've all questions have been answered. Human
checkmate.
nature, human nature is human
Your
nature.
Honor,
I don't know why I
prosecution
try
rest.
to debate you. I don't know why.
But I just think 1 in 3, because that was our number, 30%. We need one in
That's
three
correct.
Canadians or 2 of 3 Canadians to give up their cars. And I think so many people are going to be like, no, I like driving. I'm going to drive. And the way we describe autonomous vehicles, it kind of has to be all or nothing. If we have
Well,
some
but
autonomous
Volvo,
vehicles and some not, then anytime an autonomous vehicle gets in an accident because of the human driver, people will become afraid of self-driving cars.
so here's the thing. I mean, the average human gets in a car accident once every 60,000 kilometers. Once autonomous driving gets up to once every 200, once every 300, once every 400,000 kilometers, I think that's going to be a huge factor. The second factor, and I think Volvo's really gotten to the heart of it, that they're going to put it in as a feature in the car, as opposed to something that you must do. So it's something that you can allow to be on or have be off. And so it's kind of like a safety feature. And the cost for this technology is coming way down. So people will have it in their car, and it'll start off to say, I'll try it out on the highway. And you just kind of have your hands just off the steering wheel and seeing how it's going. And I think in a couple of years, when you see that, okay, this technology is working and I can get other things done, and I can do some emails or whatever, and you can trust that technology, and you realize that it's actually safer than you are, then it will become like, demanding to get into the cockpit of a plane. It's just, you recognize that you aren't as capable as the technology that's there. And yes, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be infinitely more perfect than what's there. So, it's aspirational. I'm
10
just a
years.
hopeful,
10
optimistic person.
years.
This is a significant bet. In 10 years' time, you can have me back to episode 544, and we can talk the outcome
Is
of
that
this
true?
particular bet.
It would be
I
almost
don't know. I didn't do that math. I mean, that was just made up. But I
well, I'm
appreciate that
averaging
you
about
trust my math skills.
2 a week right now, so it could be, so that's 104, and then in 10 years, maybe 1,000 episodes in.
You know what you could do? I think that people would really enjoy. It's Sterling does math, and we
So
put
you throw
challenging
me
math
numbers.
equations, and you start going, well, if you carry the 1 and then you multiply by 2, and you
So
just talk about that.
14, I can take the number
People
7
don't want to see
twice.
this. I was being facetious. Like, people don't want to see you do the math on this. I think
I
it's going to be a big number. When I come back in 10 years, you will have done a lot of these episodes. And now
got
one of the
1,000.
problems is that you're going to have to change. You're going to have an interview with every resident of Ajax. I think that's, you can start, in order to make it that far, you're going to have to expand your net a little bit.
Well, I can also bring people back. I mean, present company obviously excluded from the
Please,
invitation.
I don't want to come
But
back. No.
we'll bring people back. Now this has gone incredibly long, as I imagined it would, because
Yeah, I think people make it about 4 minutes in. I mean, this really is for you and I at this point. So
it really is. I'm shocked. I'll check.
Actually, it's for you, I, and the Conservative Research Bureau. So the only person who will be watching all the way to the end is the Conservative Research Bureau to see if they can splice this in some way to make an attack ad.
I made a bet. Okay, 4 car accidents.
Yeah, exactly.
So before we let you go, and thank you again. I mean, all joking aside, this has been a ton of fun. We'll have you back, and we'll start our 10 things podcast, because I don't like the name.
That's a better name. No, you found it. 10 things. That's instead of 10 deep.
But
that's
I almost
better.
guarantee you that exists. So we'll do our research.
That was also being facetious. I think 10 things would be a terrible name.
You are so facetious sometimes. No one understands when you're being genuine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, let's end there, because that's also the end of our friendship. So it's an appropriate. Yeah.
Is there I mean, you mentioned it already. Is there a charity you want to plug, or a nonprofit?
Yeah, I talked about Give 30, but I think Give 30 is all about giving to local charities. So we got Feed the Need in Durham. You have other food banks, obviously. It's anything anybody can do, really. There's a lot of people making masks. There's a lot of people, because not everybody has financial ability to be able to make a donation. I think let's just look out for one another, and try to be kind to one another, and try to do small little things to make the world a better place. And I think if all of us do that, if all of us try to do a little bit to help in whatever way we can, we'll get through this, and we'll be stronger than ever.
And maybe a restaurant, somewhere you've gotten takeout, because I know you get takeout. Not often,
this is maybe not the healthiest choice, but I'm going to go Portly Piper. We go there for wings as a team. We haven't been able to go there for a long time together as a team for wings, but their wings are phenomenal.
Favorite
phenomenal flavor? Look, I like any saucy wing, but I'm probably going to have to go
like a dry
buffalo or Thai chicken, because you like a dry wing, but you're also wrong. Objectively, I mean, that's, you could have
episode 2, folks. Episode 2, 10 things that are 10 wing.
Yeah, flavors. I don't understand dry wing. I really don't. I think there's there may be something wrong with your mouth. With that
was hurtful.
Yeah,
that was incredibly hurtful.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. Okay, I was trying to get out of here.
Can I close this off, please?
I mean, I guess.
God, it's so controlled.
It's your podcast, I guess.
For now, is there where can people reach you online?
Online, our email address is mark.parl.gc.ca. If you're really doing your work, you'd have it in supers right about here.
Don't try to add work to it. We're going to add it to the comments, as I do for everyone.
markholland.ca, or just Google Mark Holland, and we're there for you. And if I could, because for the one person who's still watching, who probably will be my staff,
my wife, or my wife. So that's 5 right there.
She's not watching. I know Amanda. She hasn't even watched. She hasn't watched one of these. Let's be honest. She hasn't.
I'm dropping little nuggets every episode just to see.
She's just glad you're gone for an hour. Let's be. She's like, I get a break from this guy.
Her shoulders just relax for an hour.
Yeah. I mean, neither Steph or Amanda are watching this. Let's be straight. But I want to give a very sincere shout out to my staff. Who. This has been really hard. They have done so much heavy lifting, and are just wonderful, glorious, beautiful people. We get an opportunity every day at noon to get together for half an hour and just talk about how they're doing. And I was always close to them, but I've become even more close to them, and I just so appreciative of everything they're doing. And given that they're the only ones still watching, because they'll be worried that I said something that will cause them headaches, I really want to give a huge shout out to them for all the work they always do, but particularly during this crisis, they have stepped up in the biggest way and just have made me so proud. And I am so deeply, deeply fortunate to have them. And I would say that about my team, my whip team as well. I'm so, so lucky to have them. Finn and
It's
Amanda
okay.
feel the same way.
No, come on.
No, stay. Hello, guys. How you doing? I was just Amanda saying, and you can clear this up.
Oh, sorry, they can't hear you. I was trying. Okay. Well, come on, Finn.
Hello, Finnegan. How you doing, buddy?
Who have not? I've talked about both of them a lot. This is Finnegan and my wife Amanda, and I guess somebody just woke up from their nap. Can you say hi, Mark?
Hi, Mark.
Oh, Finn, you're literally the cutest.
I'll switch to stickers here.
I'm very good. It's very nice to see you, Finn. I miss you. Are you having fun?
I miss you.
Oh, I miss you too,
I like
buddy.
Daddy more than you.
I like
Daddy more than you.
Yeah, he won't say that. He can't. He's. You know what I like about Finn? He can't lie, right?
He can't lie to the podcast viewers.
Could I just ask, because I know we got to close. I got to ask Amanda one question.
Sure.
And Finn, you can answer this too, because Finn, we already have established Finn won't lie. So Amanda, Sterling said, when you watch this later, can we be real and honest here and say you will never watch this? I said that you're just glad to get an hour break from him. You're never going to watch this podcast.
Oh, I'll watch it.
Oh wow. Okay, there you go.
Boom.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. That's every once in a blue moon,
Yeah.
Sterling gets one. So
Well, she's gonna watch this one for sure because they're both in it now.
I know. Now that
well, that's true. That was smart. I feel like this was by design.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, hey, at 3:00, bump in and just accidentally, and I can show off this gorgeous, super cute kid.
Can I say that the podcast would be a lot better generally if Finn and Amanda were in it more often? This
Can we agree the
how
podcast would be amazing if I was off it completely and it's just these two?
yeah, that's right. You
don't even need
a competing contest.
Okay, so for those of you at home, you can reach me at your voice for Ajax, number 4 for the 4. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Mark showed you where you can reach him. I'll put the things in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. And Marcus, again, thank you very much. Obviously, always a pleasure to see you. And we'll bring you back on episode 140.
I like it. That sounds a little early for me, but I look forward to it. Have a good one, bud.
So thanks for very much. So from Durham Unplugged, thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Finn. Bye, Amanda.